How's it going, everyone? I don't really have anything to do right now. We're basically all settled in at this new house. We just have a few, just like maybe 3 or 4 more boxes that need to be unpacked, I believe. At least that I saw in the kitchen. Maybe I'm just talking about the kitchen, but we're still unpacking over here. But I still also have some free time to just chill and do some other stuff that I've wanted to take a look at, and some stuff that has popped up on my radar. And something that actually did pop up on my radar was the autism test. I am, in respect to everyone who actually has been professionally diagnosed, I do not know if I have autism or not. I do not know if I am autistic, but I'm pretty sure I have portrayed some of those traits that people with autism have, and a lot of people have told me or talked about autism with me. So I figured it's probably best that I should go onto this perfectly accurate website that definitely is 100% trustworthy, and then we can figure this out together. Obviously, this is I know a lot of people take online tests to kind of get a general overview. I know it's not necessarily professional or anything like that, but it does help get your mind on the right track as to decide whether maybe you do have autism. Maybe you do actually have autism, or in this case, maybe I actually have autism and it's just diagnosed. So I think this will be really fun. And I actually just only got onto the website right here, so I don't really know if... Oh, that's funny. I chose the wrong one. So we'll start right here. The Autism Spectrum Quotient, published on March 30th. Many adults come across the AQ when they're trying to understand patterns in themselves that have always felt hard to explain. They might be wondering, why do I feel out of sync socially even when I try to do everything right? Why do I process things differently from the people around me? Could this be autism? I'm pretty sure we've all asked those same questions in our head if you have been professionally diagnosed, but again, I'm not officially, so I feel like this could be worth the look. Please read each statement and choose the answer that best fits your typical experience. I prefer to do things with others rather than on my own. I guess that depends. I guess right now I am kind of doing my own thing right now until further notice, I guess. I guess slightly disagree. I prefer to do things the same way over and over again. Slightly agree. Definitely agree. Try to imagine something. I find it very easy to create a picture in my head. Definitely agree. I frequently get so strongly absorbed in one thing that I lose sight of other things. Yes. I don't think I need to talk about Halo any more than I need to now, you know what I mean? Oh, hang on. Definitely agree. I often notice small sounds when others do not. Definitely agree. I usually notice car number plates or digital strings of information. Definitely agree. Other people frequently tell me that what I've said is impolite even though I think it is polite. I'm a tad bit straightforward, you know? I don't think that I missed all... I hope that I don't miss all the social cues that people throw my way, but you know, some of them just go right over my head, in through one ear, out the other, so maybe slightly agree. I don't really like beating around the bush when it comes to talking and the in-between the lines type stuff. It works for media and arts and all that shit, but whenever it comes to actually communicating, I just want to be perfectly clear. And sometimes the truth does hurt, so shit, maybe I should put definitely agree. When I'm reading a story, I can easily imagine what the characters might look like. Definitely agree. I'm fascinated by dates. By dates? Like dates on a calendar? I mean, that's also history, right? I'll slightly agree on that. You're just learning the importance of that date. In a social group, I can easily keep track of several different people's conversations. If I'm in the conversation, yeah. It's funny that they're asking that. In theater, we had this warm-up where we had 3 people sitting in a chair. I think it was called Park Bench, but there was one person on the left, one person on the right. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think it was called Park Bench, but there was a exercise out there where you would have to keep track of 2 people who were trying to have 2 separate conversations with you, and you had to respond to both of them in a timely manner. And this basically just taught you not to freeze up on stage and keep the conversation flowing. I can easily keep track of several different people's conversations. Maybe. Possibly. I haven't done that exercise in a while, but maybe. I find social situations easy. Definitely disagree. I tend to notice details that others do not. Slightly agree. I would rather go to a library than a party. That's funny right there. You guys always know that I say have fun, stay safe, take it easy. It's with whatever you're doing, even if it is going to a party. I don't mind a party every now and then, but again, I always say that I like to try to curate an after party effect. Parties are fun, but going home after a long night or a long day of fun is even better. So maybe slightly agree. I like the calmness of the library and the chaos of the party, but I think I like the calmness more. I find making up stories easy. Definitely agree. That's what I was educated to do. I find myself drawn more strongly to people than to things. Definitely agree. I tend to have very strong interests which I get upset about if I can't pursue. We all saw what happened over this weekend. It is okay. I enjoy social chit-chat. If I know the person and we've gotten along fairly well, then we can definitely chit-chat about anything. I'm more of a listener than a chit-chatter. And I'm definitely better at one-on-ones than group chat. It's tough I can keep track of the conversations, but I don't necessarily know when to chime in because everyone is, dare I say, talking over each other sometimes, and then some people cut each other off, and then one thing that I wanted to say, we're already like 5 paragraphs beyond what I wanted to say. So I do enjoy it, but I'm not the best at it. Definitely not the best, but that's a me thing, I'm not trying to shame anyone who likes talking. When I talk, it isn't always easy for others to get a word in edgeways. It isn't always easy for others to get a word in? Definitely disagree. Again, I'm a listener, not a talker. I'm fascinated by numbers. I'm horrible at math, but I still appreciate numbers. When I'm reading a story, I find it difficult to work out the character's intentions. Definitely disagree. I don't particularly enjoy reading fiction. Definitely disagree. I find it hard to make new friends. I notice patterns in things all the time. I try. I really do. I would rather go to the theater than a museum. They're both cool. They are both cool. A theater or a museum? I would go to both. Go to a theater than a museum. Okay, this is just a biased opinion because I keep talking about theater all the time. Slightly agree, but I like both. It does not upset me if my daily routine is disturbed. Definitely disagree. Again, this weekend it did not go according to plan. I frequently find that I don't know how to keep a conversation going. Slightly, sometimes. Conversations are definitely really difficult for me, and I know I just said this, but I like to let the other person talk more. I guess it just comes down to, people enjoy talking more about themselves, which isn't bad. It's just a human thing. But coincidentally, I'm doing the same thing by saying that I don't know how to talk, which is something that I do know about myself. You know what I mean? If you're picking up what I'm putting down. But just small talk in general, like, hey, how's the weather? All that. Like, I can't do that. I like to get to know the person and their opinions and how they want to convey that. That interests me more personally. And to allow them to be themselves. That's what I enjoy. I find it easy to read between the lines when someone is talking to me. Oof. Slightly disagree. Sometimes I'm really dense. That's just how it is, y'all. I don't know what else to say that. I usually concentrate more on the whole picture rather than the small details. Yes, definitely disagree. Well, agree. I agree with that. I'm not very good at remembering phone numbers. Slightly disagree. I don't usually notice small changes in a situation or a person's appearance. Not at first. Unless it's like a drastic change, like unless someone cut their hair or something, which I'd always like to hype up, I always like to support people in their decisions to make a drastic change like that, but I wouldn't bring it up unless they did, especially if it's a girl, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure they mostly do it, people cut their hair for like a new, I cut my hair for, efficiency sake. It costs a lot to go get a haircut these days now, unfortunately, but it also has to do with starting a new challenge, starting a new milestone that needs to be crossed in life. And it can be any milestone. At least personally, that's how I see it. I didn't even answer this question. I guess maybe slightly agree. I know how to tell if someone listening to me is getting bored. I find it easy to do more than one thing at once. Multitasking ain't too bad. When I talk on the phone, I'm not sure when it's my turn to speak. Again, if it's a group chat phone call, I don't like talking over people, People are already scared shitless of my voice. So, slightly agree. Yeah, I'll take that. I enjoy doing things spontaneously. I feel like there's a difference between doing things spontaneously and then doing things surprisingly. You know, I feel spontaneity is it's like a core part of who you are. It's a core part, and it allows the other person to expect, like, okay, well, this person wants to try something new. They want to try something different. They want to challenge themselves in a new area where they haven't gone before. And then you can prepare for whatever is going to come that way. Being surprised by someone who just wants to all of a sudden do something different, that's more daunting to me, in my opinion. I feel like it comes down to that actually being a core part of your DNA. Like, hey, let's try this. Hey, let's try that. Every so often, like every couple of weeks or something like that, you know? Yeah, I enjoy spontaneity. I'm often the last to understand the point of a joke. I find it easy to work out what someone is thinking or feeling just by looking at their face. Yes, communication is only 20% verbal and 80% everything else. I think that's like a rough estimate. If there's an interruption, I can switch back to what I was doing very quickly. Slightly. I'm good at social chit-chat. I'm good at... Can this change to like one-on-one chit-chat? I'm definitely good at one-on-one chit-chat, but group chit-chat, that's where I definitely fumble and trip over myself, because again, I don't like talking over people. I'm just going to assume this is just all social chit-chat in general. Yeah, I guess I'll slightly agree. People often tell me that I keep going on and on about the same thing. What? You expect the Halo fan to not talk about Halo? I'm sorry, y'all. It's a part of who I am. When I was young, I used to enjoy playing games involving pretending with other children. Yeah, that was fun. I like to collect information about categories of things. Yes, I do. Holy shit, I do. God damn. Pokemon. We gotta learn more Pokemon. I find it difficult to imagine what it would be like to be someone else. No. I always like to think that. I like to always think, how would I feel if I were in their shoes? There's so much that... Well, first off, there's a little that I do know that they share with me, but there's also so much that I don't know that they possibly would like to share or don't share with anyone else. It's a wobbly bridge that you walk in getting to know someone, because there's so much... What am I? I'm about to turn 27, so for as much as I talk and share about all of my positive experiences and the experiences that I don't talk about, there's someone else out there who has gone through just as many challenges that I have, and as much as I listen to them now, there's still a lot more that I don't know. Yeah, you know, there's more to a human being than just, hey, how's the weather? I like to plan any activities I participate in carefully, yes. I enjoy social occasions. I do enjoy them. I'm just not good at them. I find it difficult to work out people's intentions. In between the lines shit, yeah, I'm not too familiar with that. New situations make me anxious. They make me excited. I'm definitely down to learn something new, but I feel like anxiety always comes with something new. It's like the fear of the unknown, or maybe that's just me. You know, fear of the unknown kind of pops into my head first, and then I realize, like, well, maybe this activity, I can relate it to something else that I've done, something just a tad bit similar, but just apply the mindset rather than the action. Why did I choose that? What the hell? Slightly disagree. I enjoy meeting new people. Definitely agree. I'm a good diplomat. I like to play devil's advocate, yeah. I'm not very good at remembering people's date of birth. Well shit, I only remember my family's right now. I don't really ask people when their birthday is, not unless they would like to share it, or if it just happens to pop up in the conversation. I find it very easy to play games with children that involve pretending. I don't have any children, but, you know, I feel like that would be pretty easy. My score's what does that mean? Oh, it's right here. I'm dumb. I got a 24. That's 0 to 25. What to do next? If you still relate to autistic experiences, you may want to explore other factors or conditions that often co-occur and show some overlapping traits, or take additional screeners. Around 20% of autistic individuals scored less than 32. Well, that's new. I was not expecting that. Well, that's one test. Oh shit, hang on. So we took that one. What about the Ritville Autism Asperger Diagnostic Scale revised? There are 80 items to this. Camouflage Autistic Traits Questionnaire. Maybe I should try that one. Thinking about how you mask or camouflage in social situations. That sounds about right? When I'm interacting with someone, I deliberately copy their body language or facial expressions. It is fun. That's, you know, again, I keep saying, conversations are, or communicating is more than just talking. It's more than verbal. And you know, I'm from the arts. Dancing is pretty fun. I'm not saying that I do dance, but sometimes matching choreography is pretty fucking baller. I monitor my body language or facial expressions so that I appear relaxed. Yes. Holy shit. I rarely feel the need to put on an act in order to get through a social situation. The way that they phrased that seems like I know what they're trying to say. My mind automatically goes to like trying to put on a high octane energy and being loud and proud, and some people are actually that. I'm definitely way more chill, but a lot of people, I don't know, they get off-put by it. So I do have to try to convey a different energy to get through a social situation. Yeah, I agree. I've developed a script to follow in social situations. I have no idea what you're talking about. Strongly agree. I will repeat phrases that I heard others say in the exact same way that I first heard them. Sometimes, yeah. I adjust my body language or facial expressions so that I appear interested by the person I'm interacting with. Yes. That is how I let them know, hey, I'm still listening. What you were talking about is very, very interesting to me. In social situations, I feel like I'm performing rather than being myself. I guess the scene, the environment that I'm in, I feel that is the main factor that is not accounted for in this question. Like if you're in a work environment, then sure, you're probably going to want to go with the flow. I don't like peer pressure though. You know, I'm not necessarily too keen on peer pressure, but I do want to make sure that everyone is having an all right time and staying cordial with each other. But I think it's just depends on the environment type situation. Either agree or disagree. In my own social interactions, I use behaviors that I learned from watching other people interacting. Sometimes. Well, I said somewhat, but I agree with that. I always think about the impression I make on other people. Yes. First impressions are most important. I need the support of other people in order to socialize. I mean, yeah. I feel like that's only a fact, right? Needing support in order to go out to meet other people. I mean, humans are naturally social, so it's alright if you're antisocial, but still, having support for other people, having that confidence to back you up and being like, hey, people do actually want to talk to me. Yeah, that helps to go socialize with others. I practice my facial expressions and body language to make sure they look natural. A little bit. I know I do appear intimidating sometimes, and sometimes it looks like I'm... One of my jobs when I had to walk around a lot and try to do stuff efficiently, one of my managers came up to me, he's like, dude, East, you look like you're gonna bully someone or beat someone up. I'm like, what? Nah, I'm just way too hyper-focused right now on this destination that I need to get to. I do need to practice some more relaxed body language, but then sometimes it flips the script, and when people see me relaxed, they're like, dude, are you like drunk or high or something? And I have to keep saying, I don't know how many times, I don't know what else to say other than, like, no, I don't do drugs. I haven't drank since November. People are going to believe what they want to believe, you know? I got so far off of that question, but yes, I do sort of practice. I somewhat agree to look natural, because sometimes people think, holy shit, he's drunk. Or holy shit, he's under the influence. It is what it is. I have to force myself to interact with people when I'm in a social situation. Oh, when I'm in social situations. I wouldn't say I would have to force myself. I really do like getting to know people, but sometimes it's tough. You know, I like trying to make a good acquaintance with everyone in proximity of me, but yeah, it's just tough. It's tough, just like what the other test conveyed, that there's some in between the lines stuff, or just what I said in the previous test. Sometimes in between the lines stuff is perceived differently because I am very straightforward, and sometimes that confuses people, and so, but I don't hold grudges. You know, I completely understand that I am very blunt and very straightforward, and that does make people a bit off-put by me. It's not their fault. It really isn't. I have to force myself to interact with people when I'm in a social situation. Neither disagree nor agree. I think that's another environment question, where the environment plays a huge factor. If we're at a kickback or a party, hell yeah, I'm gonna go walk around and try to get to know people and all that. Make cordial conversation. But if it's a work environment, like, we gotta get shit done, dude. Like, I'm on the fucking clock. I've tried to improve my understanding of social skills by watching other people. Agree. I monitor my body language or facial expressions so that I appear interested by the person I'm interacting with. Agree. When in social situations, I try to find ways to avoid interacting with others. Neither agree nor disagree. I think I have a very high octane battery, and what I mean by that is that I definitely can go out and socialize if I prep for it. But once that battery runs out of fuel, I'm just like, okay, I gotta go recharge somewhere. You know, I gotta take breaks in order to recharge and get back into socializing. I can only socialize for so long before I'm like, okay, you know, I'm sorry y'all, I gotta take a break. I gotta head out real quick. And it's not because of anyone else. It's not because of the vibes. It's not because of some drama or whatever. It's just like, hey, you know, I'm so used to having to do solo jobs and stuff like that I do kind of need that space in order to get prepared and head back over to what other people are doing. It's not, again, just like I said, it's not anyone else's fault. I've researched the rules of social interactions to improve my own social skills. Yes, what's funny is that I was actually looking up autistic traits, and then, again, this goes back into the, you can't help what other people think about you thing, but there's like a huge conversation about people who are diagnosed or undiagnosed with autism being perceived as drunk when they're relaxed, and that just reinforced what I was feeling. And I may not have autism actually, but I definitely do feel that perception about me, which I'm like, I mean, maybe I should just stay stressed out all the time. Maybe that'll make people think that I'm normal, you know? I'm always aware of the impression I make on other people. Yes. I feel free to be myself when I'm with other people, if I know that person well enough. Yes. Again, there are a lot of factors that I think play into some of these questions that aren't being considered, but for the most part, if I'm assuming this is saying that if I'm with my friend group and at a calm environment. I learn how people use their bodies and faces to interact by watching television or films or by reading fiction. I guess I can understand if someone does do that, but I was on the other side of that screen at one point in my life, you know, and it's as cringe as it sounds, yes, art imitates life and life does imitate art. Something that I've learned from all of my performances is that I like to try to take the best character traits of whatever character that I have portrayed and try to incorporate that, because it is something that is worthy of looking up to. That's why we have fucking superheroes, you know what I mean? I guess some would agree, yeah, that makes sense. But, you know, you don't just become that character now, you know? I think it evolves who you are the more that you grow and the more that you take on these roles. I don't perform anymore, obviously, but when I did do that, I was like, yeah, this is, I like this character trait from this character, and this is the way that I want my personality to improve so that I can be who I want to become. I adjust my body language or facial expressions so that I appear relaxed. Not all the time, but somewhat agree. When talking to other people, I feel like the conversation flows naturally. Disagree. That is a group conversation. I've spent time learning social skills from television shows and films and try to use these in my situations. A little bit. I've learned about ADHD and autism and what's the other one? ADD? There was another one that I looked up. I can't remember the name of it, but I guess somewhat agree, yeah. In social interactions, I do not pay attention to what my face or body are doing. Disagree. I'm very well aware of personal space. In social situations, I feel like I'm pretending to be normal. Agree. Strongly agree. Oh my god. That's funny right there. Total. Compensation total is 52. Masking is 42. Assimilation is 35. Oh god, am I getting assimilated into the Borg? Total score. 109. 129. A total score of 100 or above indicates you camouflage autistic traits. Yes, okay, that makes sense. But other than knowing the threshold, making sense of your scores can be challenging. It may be helpful to compare your results to the average scores of autistic and non-autistics. The highest scores can be denoted by a star. So the total score is 109. Okay. But I got fucking 129. Dude, my masking skills are off the charts right now. Another way to make sense of your scores is to look at the correlations. Let's see. High CAT-Q scores correlate with social anxiety in both autistic and neurotypicals, with the exception of masking. In autistic people, the total CAT-Q score and the assimilation score negatively correlate with well-being. The higher your scores on these measures, the lower your well-being tends to be. Assimilation? What's my assimilation? What is the average? 39. Well, that's not too bad. Like I said, I like playing devil's advocate, but I do have opinions. Neurotypical people, all CAT-Q scores negatively correlate with well-being. Oh shit. Not just the total score in assimilation. In autistic people, all CAT-Q scores were correlated with depression and generalized anxiety. This wasn't tested for in neurotypical groups. Huh. And again, I really don't like bringing up the past or whatever, you know, because it's all fucking stuff that I've done in theater and stuff, but I guess I have learned some techniques from all the exercises that I do that have helped me be more social. But again, that's all life imitates art imitates life stuff, when in reality I'm just fucking masking all the time when I'm not performing. That made me feel a little bit better. That made me feel a lot better, actually. I think we have one more test. The Ritvo Autism Asperger Diagnostic Scale revised. Please read each statement below and choose the answer that best fits your experiences during social interactions. I'm a sympathetic person. True. I often use words and phrases for movies and television conversations. Yes. I mean, I do know most of Halo 2 by heart. I haven't rehearsed it in a little bit, but yeah, no, that's again the basic gatekeeping technique that all Halo fans use. If you can't quote all of Halo 2, you're not a true Halo fan. I am often surprised when others tell me I've been rude. Sometimes I talk too loudly or too softly. Yeah, it's tough having a low, deep voice because sometimes the vibrations literally don't travel far enough and it sounds like I'm mumbling. But then people tell me to raise my voice, and then when I do raise my voice, they get scared shitless, which I'm like, okay, well, sorry y'all. This is why I try to not speak softly, but I feel like there's a difference between whispering to murmuring to talking to projecting to shouting, and I try to lay in between talking and projecting, but sometimes it's just not enough. You know, I fully understand other people's situations. My voice is very hard to hear sometimes. Often don't know how to act in social situations. True when I was younger than 16. Middle school was fucking tough, dude. I can put myself in other people's shoes. True. I have a hard time figuring out what some phrases mean, like you are the apple of my eye. I think I get it. I think I understand it. Like you're the only one that I'm looking at, or you are the most important thing in my vision right now, or object, or person, you know? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm assuming that's what it means. I only like to talk to people who share my special interests. It's nice to have special interests. It's nice to have special interests in common, but I do like learning about other stuff and what other people are interested in, so I focus on details rather than the overall idea. Maybe when I was younger, you know? The world has gotten so much larger these days. I always notice how food feels in my mouth. This is important to me than how it tastes. I just like food, bro. I miss my best friends or family when we are apart for a long time. Yeah. I hope they're doing alright. Sometimes I offend others by saying what I'm thinking, even if I don't mean to. Yes, true. I only like to think and talk about a few things that interests me. Never true. I like asking questions, get the other people talking. I'd rather go out to eat in a restaurant by myself than with someone I know. Ooh, no. I mean, I can, but I don't like doing that. I like eating food, going out and experimenting. There's literally so many fucking food places down the street over here that I haven't tried yet, but the sushi bar is amazing, and I'm going back to that place soon. I cannot imagine what it would be like to be someone else. Never true. I've been told that I'm clumsy or uncoordinated. Yeah, I can be pretty dense, somewhat of an airhead sometimes. And again, I feel like that also plays into when I just don't know when to chime in a conversation. So I'm just kind of standing there with my hands to my side, fucking A-posing. Like I don't know when to chime into a conversation because sometimes I'm just a bit too late. Others consider me odd or different. True. I understand when friends need to be comforted. True. I'm very sensitive to the way my clothes feel when I touch them. How they feel is more important to me than how they look. Not really. I mean, if it is itchy, then it's itchy, but shit, if it's clothes, I ain't complaining. I like to copy the way certain people speak and act. It helps me appear normal. Maybe not copy the way they speak, but again, to mirror their actions, to let them know that they are validated. I like doing that, but no imposter syndrome or nothing, you know? True, no. Well, true only when I was younger than 16, probably. How about that? I feel like that's fair. It can be very intimidating for me to talk to more than one person at the same time. Yes. True. I have to act normal to please other people and make them like me. True. The way that this question is phrased makes it sound like an inferiority complex, but I just like seeing people happy, you know, making sure everyone has a good time. But trying to act normal to the next question. Meeting new people is usually easy for me. It's very fun, I'll tell you that. I get highly confused when someone interrupts me when I'm talking about something I'm very interested in. I may not understand why they interrupt, but I completely understand that I am the one who is not necessarily socially acquainted with how people communicate. So I don't hold grudges, but I get highly confused, maybe when I was younger. It is difficult for me to understand how other people are feeling when we are talking. Nah. I like having a conversation with several people, for instance around a dinner table at school or at work. True. I take things too literally, yes. Don't even need to read the rest of that. It is very difficult for me to understand when someone is embarrassed or jealous. Never true. Well, embarrassed, I take that back. When someone is embarrassed, yeah, I can recognize that. But jealous, I don't know why someone would get jealous over me, you know? Some ordinary textures that do not bother others feel very offensive when they touch my skin. Nah. I get extremely upset when the way I like to do things is suddenly changed. A little bit. And again, I think it comes down to what you know about that person. If they happen to always be spontaneous and looking for a new challenge to conquer, then I'm down for that. But if you're used to something, in having a rhythm with that person, and then all of a sudden they change up on you, I feel like that's like, hey, where did this come from? I've never wanted or needed to have what other people call an intimate relationship. Never. Love is cool. Marriage is cool. And practicing those traits is also cool. It is difficult for me to start and stop a conversation. I need to keep going until I am finished. Nah. I speak with a normal rhythm. Maybe? I'm actually kind of very aware of the words that I say, like how I pronounce them, because again, some people don't hear me, and so I do kind of have to repeat what I say. So if I don't get it right the first time, then shit, it's gonna be challenging. The same sound, color, or texture can subtly change from very sensitive to very dull. No, I don't think so. The phrase "I've got you under my skin" makes me uncomfortable. No, not really. Got you under my skin? What does that even mean? I'm not sure what this is entailing. I don't think it is what I think, though. But no, it does not make me uncomfortable. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that doesn't bother me. What the hell? Although my mind did go somewhere else, but no, that doesn't bother me at all. Sometimes the sound of a word or a high-pitched noise can be painful to my ears. Sometimes. I don't mind loud noises. It's just, I guess, when it's surprising, you know? Maybe true when I was younger than 16. I'm an understanding type of person, yes. I do not connect with characters in movies and cannot feel what they feel. Never true. I cannot tell when someone is flirting with me. If we are on the same wavelength. This is a very naive thought, but I always like to think that people are just nice and chill. Obviously, I know better, since I'm an adult now, but I always like to go in with the thought that, hey, you know, maybe we just can be friends. But unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work out that way, and sometimes people do happen to try to flirt, and I don't really pick up on that. I honestly feel like unless you're just kind of on the same wavelength, or if you fucking hit me over the head with a stop sign and being like, hey, look at me, then that's the only way that I would be able to have my attention be diverted. But also, I also think it comes down to how comfortable you are with talking with that person, and you guys are both at an understanding of what is okay, what is not okay, what it means to flirt. Maybe true only when I was younger than 16. I can definitely say when I was younger than 16, I had no idea if girls were flirting with me or not. I still don't know. Again, unless you hit me over the head with the fucking stop sign or the vibes are chill and we're on the same wavelength, I don't really know, nor do I care. I'm sorry I said it like that, but it's honestly another trait that I want to practice for marriage. I can see in my mind in exact details the things I'm interested in. Yes, I keep lists of things that interest me even when they have no practical use. Maybe when I was younger than 16. Maybe. When I feel overwhelmed by my senses, I have to isolate myself. Hell yeah. I just need space to recharge, and then I'm good to go. I like to talk things over with my friends. Very true. I cannot tell if someone is interested or bored with what I'm saying. Maybe when I was younger and more naive. It can be very hard to read someone's face, hand, and body movements when they're talking. Nah. The same thing, like clothes or temperatures, can feel very different to me at different times. Nah. I feel very comfortable with dating or being in social situations with others. Very true. I try to be as helpful as I can when other people tell me their personal problems. Very true. I've been told that I have an unusual voice. Yes. I don't think we need to go any more into that one, you know? Some people think that my voice is fake. Some people think that I'm performing and putting on like a macho man voice, or like trying to deepen my voice. Like, this is actually me trying to deepen my voice. But nah, man. I mean, when I've been performing for over 10 years, I started in 2016 and then, well, no, hang on, 2014? Is that it? When was middle school? 2013. Okay, 2013. And then I stopped in 2022. Well, I moved, actually, no, I did one more performance when I was in Georgia, so 2024. So, 12 years? The point that I'm trying to make is that when I've performed for so long and catered to training my voice to play these authoritative roles, my voice is kind of just acclimated to that. That's the point that I'm trying to make. This is just my normal speaking voice now. Granted, if I didn't do theater, my voice probably would sound different. I probably would not sound like I'm fucking 40 or something like that, you know what I mean? But I did do it for over 12 years. I started off as tech and then I went into the onstage performance, and then that it just kind of started growing from there, I guess. My voice, it started evolving. Sometimes a thought or subject gets stuck in my mind and I have to talk about it, even though no one is interested. Maybe. Yeah, I do certain things with my hands over and over again, like flapping, twirling sticks or strings. Yes. If I had a pen over here, I would definitely be flipping it right about now. I've never been interested in what most of the people I know consider interesting. I wouldn't say I wouldn't be interested. I would say maybe I just didn't know about the interest because I kind of just keep to myself. I guess this also reinforces the whole Pokemon situation. Like, I didn't really have anyone to talk to Pokemon about. But it is cool. I've always thought it was cool. I just never got into it because no one I knew. If they were Pokemon fans, we certainly didn't talk about it. But I'm pretty sure we all had more important things, like going to after-school rehearsals or whatever kind of thing that we were doing. Yeah, no, we never talked about Pokemon. We talked about Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit. That's why I grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh! But again, I just didn't have any friends on the Pokemon side. I've never been interested. Never true. I'm considered a compassionate type of person. I hope I am. I really hope. I get along with other people by following a set of specific rules that help me look normal. Hopefully. It is very difficult for me to work and function in groups. I think as long as I'm comfortable with the group at hand, then we can definitely throw some BM at each other in that inside joke kind of way. Nah, I don't mind working as a team. I like the team effort. When I'm talking to someone, it is hard to change the subject. If the other person does so, I can get very upset and confused. Nah, I understand. Sometimes I do ramble. Sometimes I have to cover my ears to block out painful noises. Maybe when I was younger. My mind immediately goes to like a firefighting or a fire drill, you know, with all the alarms going off. You just never expect that shit. I can chat and make small talk with people. I've learned, true only now, I've learned to do that. I was not necessarily the best at small talk when I was younger, but I do understand the importance of it. Sometimes things that should feel painful are not. For instance, when I hurt myself with my hand on the stove. Never. When talking to someone, I have a hard time telling when it is my turn to talk or listen. This is the question that I was looking for. Holy shit. And I wish it said when talking to groups, because that is my exact problem. I love one-on-one conversations, but in a group chat, I do have a hard time telling when it is my turn to talk or to listen. God damn it, that was the question that I needed. It just needed to be in a group format. I'm considered a loner by those who know me best. Maybe. Possibly. I usually speak in a normal tone. possibly. I like things to be exactly the same day after day, and even small changes in my routines upset me. I mean, you gotta expect the unexpected, right? Maybe when I was younger. And yeah, I know I just had that crash out over tech issues over the weekend, but that was literally something that was out of my control. I think I just gotta get new hard drives, and it's as simple as that. How to make friends and socialize is a mystery to me. Nah, maybe when I was younger than 16, but people are cool. I like getting to know people. It calms me to spin around or rock in a chair when I'm feeling stressed. Yeah, the phrase "he wears his heart on his sleeve" does not make sense to me. Never true. If I'm in a place where there are many smells, textures to feel, noises, or bright lights, I feel anxious or frightened. Overstimulation. I get that more with conversations rather than environments. Maybe that's why I'm so bad at talking to people. I get all these different energies colliding with each other, not in a bad way, but it is a shit ton of energy. But if it's a new environment, then hey, I can tell when someone says one thing but means something else. I've learned to do that. I like to be by myself as much as I can. Maybe when I was younger than 16. I mean, I'm kind of by myself right now, literally, but you know, logging onto Twitch and all that has kind of changed things. It's pretty cool. I keep my thoughts stacked in my memory like they are on filing cards. Holy shit, that is true. I know some of you people out there have imagined your brain as like a huge file cabinet, and then whenever you remember something, you place it in the vanilla folders, and then put that right in the middle. Yes, do I do that. That is amazing. The same sound sometimes seems very loud and very soft, even though I know it has not changed. Probably not. I enjoy spending time eating and talking with my family and friends. Yeah, I enjoy that. I can't tolerate things I dislike, like smells, textures, sounds, or odors. Nah. I don't like being hugged or held. I know I mentioned this in one of the prior tests, but I think it does come down to personal space and getting to know that person in particular. If I do know this person very well, then sure, I wouldn't mind if they touch me or whatever, but if I don't know you, then there's no reason. Not unless that touch has like intention. An example that I can give is that if you were working with like a very frustrated customer and one of your coworkers was also getting very frustrated, I might just go ahead and, you know, guide her away. Like, okay, like it's time to, don't worry, I'll take care of it. You just go ahead and cool down. That seems like a very specific example, East. I wonder if that happened or not. Nah, never true. I don't mind being held or hugged. Whenever I go somewhere, I have to follow a familiar route or I can get very confused and upset. I do like learning new streets and stuff, but I do need to have a thorough map in my head. It is difficult to figure out what other people expect of me. I guess that plays into the other point that I was making. Like, some people have different intentions, which it's not bad or good or anything. It just is what it is. We're human and we want certain things as humans, as individuals. So yeah, it is difficult to figure out what other people expect of me sometimes. I like to have close friends, yes, that we can BM each other with. People tell me that I give too much detail. What, like rambling? I don't think so. I'm often told that I ask embarrassing questions. Nah, I tend to point out other people's mistakes, only when it's necessary. I try to be a very forgiving person, but unless things go too far, that's when I step in and be like, okay, let's start laying out the facts. But I don't do that on the regular. You know, I hope that is conveyed correctly. I'm not a fucking bully. And that was 80 questions. My total is 80. Language is 10. Social relatedness is 33. Sensory motor is 20. Circumscribed interest is 17. 65 to 105. Your responses show some autism-related traits. Those scores in this range are less specific and can overlap with ADHD, anxiety, depression, trauma, burnout, or other experiences. Hang on. Let me look at the other scores too. Above 105, 106, your responses show stronger alignment with autism-related traits and may warrant fuller clinical interpretation within the context of your broader life experiences. So, I'm somewhat autistic. I am A-okay with that. I'm somewhat autistic, but due to all of the exercises that I've done in theater for over the past 12 years, I've learned how to try to use those techniques in real life and mask them. That is my theory. That is my educated guess. They have a lot of quizzes on this website. I have some autistic traits that I've learned to mask over the years, and I think that is due to a lot of the arts that I've been in, but that is news to me. I don't mind that at all. I really don't. I know I keep saying that, but there's always been something where I have had trouble communicating, especially in group chats and groups of people. I'm not the best at group chat. But one-on-one chat, hell yeah, I can do that. I can definitely learn about someone and get to know them. And it's tough learning the intentions of other people because first impressions, I do like to try to give a good first impression, but again, it's a tough bridge. It is a creaky bridge that you walk on. But if I can make it to the other side, then I feel like it would be more than worth it to get to know that person and then build our relationship from there.